I caught like a really beautiful scalp right here. Just from like back testing like 10T a lot with structure. I missed this little M3 retest, and then I saw two accumulations. And on 10T, this is usually like a momentum comp retest entry. And so once it broke above this candlestick, I entered. My target was the DP, and I should have just called it there, gents, like straight up. We had an emergency at work pop off, water's going everywhere. I'm training two new guys that don't know anything, so they're like riding along with me. So the day's getting pretty chaotic. And in terms of context, we came into a sell dark pool and a sell delta and a previous sell base right here. So just in general, like even from Scalper's last lesson, and this is the crazy part, guys, like where I sabotaged myself so hard. He said even if it runs 100 points, just because of context alone, just don't take a buy. Don't try to take a buy in a when everything's saying this is where a logical pullback could happen or this or that, right? So I've got all this chaos ensuing around me at work, and I see this M3 right here, this little buy M3, and I decided to take another scalp. But this time I like, because I have to do it manually at work, I'm like rotating through like three accounts as fast as I can to hit buy on all of them right here. So stops below the base, targeting the top edge. And then this was my me getting invalidated because I don't know if everybody remembers, but like one way to know that they're looking for a possible deeper retracement is the last formed buy continuation needs to get broken because these buy cons are essentially meant to just keep pushing price up. So that's why I like my stops below invalidation. And so normally I would call it here, guys. Like I get stopped out, I'm invalidated. I have to presume that price wants to go further down because once you get invalidated on a buy con, that always forms what? A sell delta held now. And so I'm cognizant of this, like logically or just like in terms of knowledge. I'm like, okay, I know the sell delta held formed. We're at a sell DP in a sell delta in a sell base. And this is just where I sabotaged myself. So I tried to guess that this was just going to be proper manipulation, which is like where they resweep the previous manipulation and then they break the highs. So these two trade entries were literally just total garbage, guys. Like there was no confluences to them. It was solely emotional. And I recall at the time, like my coworkers coming up to me, the two new guys, they were asking me all these questions, and I remember feeling like super frustrated. And I was talking with Luke the other day about like you can start to kind of tell when you're tilted. And at that point, I could tell I was tilting, but there was something that I think it was just my ego. It didn't want to accept that, well, just in general, the day wasn't going the way that I kind of wanted it to. Like, I wanted more time to myself. Like, there's a lot of things at work. I wanted space. I would have hoped that trade would have played out, whatever the case may be. So, in this moment, this was like the moment I tilted because each of these two trades that came after, I fired off on those same accounts still. Like I rotated through, tried taking these buys after I was invalidated from this buy count getting broken. So like in terms of technical analysis, that's what I did wrong was just trading after invalidation and just even attempting to take this continuation when we're at a sell DP delta and in this sell base of this candlestick right here. Um, So in terms of technical analysis, there was a lot that I did wrong. Sure, maybe that first entry had a possibility, still bad context, but after that, just in TA alone, I should have not even tried taking these other two trades. Um, so I really thought about it over the weekend because I wanted to reset coming into this upcoming week on Jamie had asked how we could work on preventing this going forward. And I think where I stand right now is I actually really don't feel much fear continuing to trade. Like I caught two beautiful scalps tonight, one BE. Um, it's just I think what I need to remind myself going forward is like for me personally, the reason I like stops below manipulation is because it gives me clarity that I'm invalidated if I continue to try to trade that area of interest. So I just have to follow my rules and the data that I've been collecting leading up to this last payout was I took losses. I didn't have a perfect trade record, leading up to this last set of payouts. But, and I was telling Luke the other day, one of the best things I did for myself leading up to that payout and like scaling through those losses was just knowing when to walk away. And there was one night in particular where I was copy trading because, from home I copy trade all the accounts that I have. And I took a copy trade and I immediately tanked those accounts. I revenge traded. The total daily drawdown is like 1,000. The numbers really don't matter to me anymore, but just for the sake of what happened, I was down 600. And there was something inside of me that just said, hey, stop here, call it. Because I can't tell you guys how many times I've walked away from the charts after a bad night. And then, like, New York session prints like the most juicy, beautiful setups. But in the past, I would have to sit on my hands because I had already maxed out my drawdown, from the Asia session. And so that night, I chose to just walk away. And this was leading up to the payout. I chose to just walk away and I said, you know what? Even it wasn't even about making it all back in the next session or the next two sessions. I just shifted my perspective to, okay, the data shows me that if I have a bad night or if I'm invalidated, walking away is going to protect me more till there's like a more probable setup that's going to play out to be able to scale back through. And so really shifting my perspective to not focusing on the numbers, not trying to rush to make it all back. Because I didn't make that loss back in one trade or two trades. It took like three or four trades with another loss in there to be able to scale back out of that position. Because then that night too, I made another mistake where I normally trade 2 to 4 contracts depending on the stop loss size and like the type of entry I'm taking. And then I jumped up to 5. So I tried over leveraging that same night just to make back the first couple of losses. But by catching myself and then going back to the rules I'd created for myself, that perspective shift was it's more about how many times can I execute the edge properly and less focus on I gotta make money or even like tonight, even it's like for Apex's payout, you need a $250 day or more. If I can't catch that 250, like I'm telling myself now I'm done for the night because I don't want to be at like 190, for example, and then I have money weighing on my mind because I'm thinking from the perspective that it just influences your mind. So now it's just like if I caught a good trade and I didn't meet that daily profit target goal, I'm calling it there. Like I'm cool with that because I don't want to keep chasing the market anymore and then just sabotaging myself. So it's like the number I keep an eye on the numbers just so I kind of know, I guess, what my next targets need to be to get to that payout. But it's only for that. But my main focus when I come into the markets now, especially after a day like Friday, is like I think the first thing is just being honest with yourself, like straight up. I think you have to be able to have accountability. So just having accountability for my actions and telling myself, okay, one aspect of it was TA, sure, but the other aspect was I tilted and I didn't catch myself. Like I didn't I have I guess like a high standard I'm striving for. We have like, I think two of the greatest mentors in the world, literally. I don't just say that
100%.
lightly. They set like that standard of like what can happen if we're disciplined, if we follow our rules. And so to me, it's just I may be doing good in general into everybody else's eyes, but I haven't met those standards that I have for myself. And so I recognize that. And then going into this week, my focus literally is not about making the money back that I lost on those accounts, not worrying about how big the trades are or whatever. It's just I understand the leverage I have to. It's the edge doesn't change, is essentially what I'm trying to say. But we have the ability to change the way that we're perceiving the market. And so going into this week, I don't really feel fear per se about taking these trades. Like tonight, I took these trades. I felt pretty calm. I felt even with the risk I was risking, it was very peaceful. Two contracts. It's like it's just if your risk is appropriate, like your risk management, and then how soon can we catch the mistakes that we're making? Like none of my trades got invalidated because of my stop loss. So my stops, the first one got hit, but the overall area of interest got respected for that last and final scalp I took. So it was like as long as for me, the clarity I've created, which is on the technical analysis side, if I'm not invalidated and I used proper risk for the first couple attempts, I'm willing to still take a third attempt or maybe even possibly a fourth, as long as the area is not invalidated. And then I think just in terms of psychology, just staying accountable with myself this week and catching myself when I want to chase and rush. Like after that last scalp, immediately I felt the desire creep back in of like, oh, you could get closer to your payout goal or you could take another scalp. Like, and I literally, this happened tonight. Like I caught all of those thoughts. And to be honest, I just told myself, I was like, you know what? Like, there's no reason to trade. The Zoom call was coming up. I think this is a reward in and of itself. I love talking to everybody and just kind of getting your guys' energy. And so for me, it's really, it just boils down to holding myself accountable. And then there's no need to rush the process or chase these payouts. You know, like the moment we think in terms of money, for myself personally, I'll say this, everything just goes on tilt mode. Like I start making poor choices, I chase after losses, I over leverage to try to make the first couple losses back, and it just leads to this downward spiral. So I think for me going forward, and my meditations have been on for a long time now, like how can I trade the edge over the money or like folk like that, Scalper gave that awesome message to us a while back on like all professional traders, they don't even think about the money, they just focus on how well they traded the process that day. And that's my ultimate goal. And so going into this week, I'm not even thinking about how much I lost from last week. Like I've pretty much detached from that. My focus is literally just, do I stick to my rules this week? Do I use the proper leverage? If I had gotten invalidated tonight, I was ready, guys. Like if it had taken out that like static base on those scalps I tried, I was ready to just say, I'm done. You know what? Like let me just get up, walk away. I mean, I'll still be studying most of the night, but in terms of like actually trying to trade to make it back, um, so I think the biggest thing that this stems from, truthfully, is like just we're Scalper says all the time, and even Cypress, but like we're capital managers, we're not traders, like we're here to learn how to manage and protect our capital. And so just honestly, I think as long as we have these daily reflections, and like me, I'm every single day, I'm constantly focused on what does it mean to protect my capital. And I know it's probably one of the hardest things to do, and I'm actually going through the fires with it right now, is just walking away after a loss or closing the day out on like a red P&L. Is probably one of the hardest things for me to do right now. um I go on like these winning streaks, like through the challenges into the funded stages, and I've been through this cycle before. And so I messaged Scalper about it the other day. But what essentially happens is like I get through the challenges, I get to the funded, and I go on this like killer winning streak. I get very close to a payout, and then I just tilt and I blow the accounts.
Do you tilt
And so
often?
this past, huh?
Do you tilt often?
No, no, not as much now. So like what I wanted to share was this past Friday was actually the first time that I was able to like so that Asian night, that particular Asian night that stood out to me where I was down, I walked away, I came back, New York printed juicy, Asia session the next night printed juicy, and it was just a few good days of momentum because I like momentum entries and I was able to scale that back. But Friday in particular was a day where it was like that if there was a moment that I needed to catch myself from in order to break that previous cycle, it was gonna have to be Friday. And it was like the craziest conflict of like emotions and psychology. Because even after that, I saw like, your brain starts to look for like your brain becomes biased because then I was like, I had all those thoughts of like, oh, I could still catch a scalp. We still got a couple hours, like it just wanted me to chase the market. Like I was like looking. And so when I realized that, I just put my phone away. I focused on work. Work has been a little different for me in recent times. Like normally, I have a lot of free time. I'm set off to the side by myself to go on like these little side tasks so I can like analyze the markets peacefully, this and that. But with the new coworkers, I've got a lot of my focus is being taken away. And so another rule I created for myself is at least until the routine at work gets back to normal, I'm just not going to even trade price action at work because I trade price action, but I trade M3 and it's the only pattern where the manipulation plays out before the move happens. And that's the reason a lot of times you guys see me take these trades at work with no order flow.
Did
And
this happen
sometimes
at
I'll take
work?
them. Yeah, yeah, this had happened at work on
All
Friday.
this issue, like
Yeah,
all of.
yeah,
So I had a question because I was like writing some things down that you said. So most of this happened when you were at work with like new coworkers, the stress and everything else like that, and you damaged a few accounts like at the same time because you were stressed, you were flicking through all your accounts. Like maybe while you're trading at work, do you think it'd be good to implement a rule where you can't copy trade? Like you get one account to work on because I'm sure if you're stressed out and then you're flipping to another account, another account, another account, that's got to be adding to the stress while you're at work.
yeah.
I feel like that
And
might be
that
a
is
decent rule to implement while you're at work.
even in general, bro, like with no stress hour, that is so stressful because like we want the perfect entry ideally, and I can't tell you like the time it takes to load just the second account, the move could already be up 10
Mhm.
points,
So maybe make a
And
rule where
so,
just pick one account for the day and just stick because it's already stressful trading at work as it is. Like
yeah,
so you that way if like you have like a blow up, you're not blowing up three accounts, you're screwing up maybe one, and then when you're home, maybe you could focus on the copy trading.
yeah,
I think it might be a
that's
good idea, like personally, but it's something I was thinking about because I know with my daughter, like trading, like I've been tilting so much more because like you're tilting at work, like I'm tilting like trying to trade with my daughter, so that's why I've been simming because I blew up my live account a couple weeks ago, and it was more of
mm,
like I'm doing okay, and then my daughter starts screaming and freaking out. So then I'm losing my train of thought, and then I take a stupid loss, and I get irritated, and then you were lucky enough to mature to walk away. Like I wasn't. I was very immature and blew my account. You know.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm just trying to think of like rules that I could add, or you could add, or other people in this group could add to help prevent these blowups because we have the best like system in the world. Like I don't think we could find another place
yeah,
if we wanted to. And our so And I think a lot of people in this group have some of the same issues. I think a lot of us blow up, but I don't think a lot of people don't admit it. Maybe I don't. Maybe it's just me and you that blow up. Like I don't know if anybody else in this Zoom call could say they've blown up before, but I think a lot of people have that because the reason I
Yeah.
think that is because a lot of people hear past challenges and they post that they passed their challenges, but I have not seen a lot of people post that they got a payout. And maybe they're just being more in the shadows and that's completely okay. But it makes me wonder if a lot of people are having these same blow ups of like you or me or whoever else.
100%. 100%. I think
Yeah.
we all do. I
So
remember I had a crazy meltdown and I haven't traded my account since. I mean, it wasn't crazy, but for me, I only trade two micros and it was like I was down $600 and I was like, all right, I gotta get out of here. I gotta reassess everything and I gotta come up. Mainly, I just gotta control my emotions and be patient. I feel like that's a big problem that I face anyway.
what do you think caused your blow up?
I was the first attempt, I got break even and then it ripped, and then I was just chasing.
Yeah.
And then it was a train wreck.
And it's so hard to stop too. It's like really hard. Like you've heard the stories. Like I mean, BD shared his. Like I like we've all had it, and it's just like learning the mental maturity to stop it. And it's just like, and I think like we need to dig deep into our like psychology of what is causing that anger. If that makes sense. Because like I think I've mapped mine out. It's like I get fearful for some stupid reason, like over a $16 McDonald's level Apex account when they're 90% off. Like I I'm just anxious for some stupid reason and I can't figure out why. And then I'll miss this beautiful setup because I just won't take it. And then I'll chase a bad setup and then I take a bad setup. It's an immediately loss. And then I'm just like kind of irritated and then I'll take another stupid loss and then I'm just pissed and then I lose it. And that's the pattern. But the beginning of that pattern stems from fear and not trusting this best edge in the world that we have. So I think I need to break that cycle, and I it's so hard for me, and I cannot figure it out.
Yeah. I think I think the one of the unfortunate things I realized is like the majority of us grow up kind of like where money is everything, right? And so, and we live in a culture where instant gratification is served to us at every angle, 30-second Instagram reels, this, that, whatever. And so it's like I think people, and this is just coming from my own personal challenge and space in life. What I realized about myself was I thought I would come into this journey and it would be like instant, or fairly quick. Like I was like, yeah, maybe a year and I'll get it down and this and that. And so I never had the ability to put the cap on rushing the process. And it's greed in one aspect, but not like an evil greed of like, oh, I need money and this and that. But it's just like I know my vision is so strong and passionate for achieving freedom that it's like I want this to happen now. And I just wanted to express like the data, guys. It shows like I blew up on Friday, but I had a small tilt moment leading up to the payout, but I recovered. But that recovery only came because I followed the rules. Like I was able to walk away, and that took all my willpower because there's nothing that I've been challenged more than feeling defeated going to bed that night, because it's like it's easy for us to all take wins and walk away feeling like, oh, we're doing it, we're on top of it, but it's another thing to have to process the emotions and the psychology of feeling like you're not achieving it or you're not going to be able to make it back up. But and just to give you a realistic idea, it took a whole week for me to scale through that loss from that Asian night back into profits and then back up to the payout. So it wasn't something like the data showed me personally, and this is what's helping me start to catch myself and walk away, I guess, is just by going through the fire, literally. But by following the rules and doing the right thing. And we only need one setup to be profitable. That's the other thing. Like I literally only trade the M3. That is it right now. And I do use order flow at home to look at three on the retest to get that proper mitigation to take the risk for the entry. But it's like there's so many, and there's days where I skip the entire session. Like I didn't trade New York because, and these are like in my good moments where I'm in that flow state. It seems like I open the charts, I look, and I'm like, I feel no desire to trade because it's just too choppy or it's doing whatever it's doing. And so it's like, if we can learn, I think, to conquer that desire of like instant gratification, instant results. This is like one thing Scalper told me is this is about longevity. Like patience is the game, is what he told me. Like if we're able to be patient, even if it's after a loss, like if you're confused or there's any doubt about your entries or what you should do after you took a loss, because and I focus on losses more in this particular conversation because I can be honest about this, but when I used to win in the past, I didn't even look back. Like I would take the win and I would move on to the next day. This and that, life was good, accounts were good. But the moment I took a loss, it's where things start to like unravel, and that's where I realized I need to focus on who I am in those moments. And if we're trying to build ourselves up to be like these disciplined, profitable traders, the fire is going to show us what we have, what our true potential and capacity is. And so I started looking at it in sets of trades, right? If we get caught up in the moment focusing on one area of interest or just two or three trades we take from that same AOI and we take a loss, for example, it seems so much more defeating than if we take a step back and say, well, what actually happens if we trade over the course of 2 weeks, but by striving to do the right thing? So if you take a loss on like Friday, those losses didn't even cross my mind tonight entering the market because it just it doesn't matter, like in the sense of I reset my brain. I went in tonight with patience, calmness. I looked at order flow. I looked at structure. I went down to 10T. We're not changing the strategy. We're changing the state of mind we're in and our psychology and our emotions. And so, um, I think one of the traps for us, or what I've noticed for myself, is it can be easy to get caught in that single focal point of taking a loss, not doing good, or something's off in our environment. It might not be with the charts at that time. But if you can catch yourself and like you were saying, Jamie, it's one of the hardest things to do, but just walk away for that moment because we want to think about this in terms of like long-term gratification. We're all going to take losses like that. We just have to accept that like we're just gonna take losses. Every trade that we take, it's just probability. We might catch 5 points and then it stops us out, and we might get break even. It might rip 100 points. And so I think risk management is a huge component of this as well. So dropping down to a risk that is um appropriate for the stop loss that you're using. Like trading these accounts, yeah, they say 50K, but realistically, you only have a $2,000 account because that's my total drawdown. And then a day, realistically, only 1,000 because that's where they would cut your account for trading after the end of the day if you hit that cap. So it's like realistically, you only have $1,000 worth of capital. Well, what leverage can you use to give you the most trades out of that $1,000? So I like me personally, I already know I'm gonna make mistakes. I'm gonna take losses. Like that's just reality. And so what I tell myself now is, okay, if I'm gonna think about this as a game of longevity and preservation of capital, I need to be trading a leverage that is appropriate enough to give me let's just say 10 trades at least, because if we're trading a truly profitable strategy, 10 trades should be enough to scale through, let's just say 3 or 4 losses even. I mean, just so I think risk management as well as having that discipline to be able to walk away in the when we take these losses or have these deeply emotional experiences because maybe something's going on in our life, and that also creates like a inoptimal trading experience. Like we want to set ourselves up for success. So, yeah, I think one aspect of it is understanding the edge, the technical analysis side, but also understanding ourselves not, and then conquering that instant gratification that's fed to us daily. So I just kind of wanted to share that, like, and don't beat yourselves up for taking a loss. Like, you know how many times I've taken a sell delta held and then got stopped out, like because it turns into a buy M3 or something. And so it's like there's times where we took a good entry, but it was in the wrong context or we were offsides in the market, right? So it's like there's a lot of things we can do when it comes to risk management to give us that longevity to actually collect the data for what it is that we can do better going forward without blowing the accounts. And so in terms of instant gratification, the way I see I'm actively working on shifting my mentality right now with these current accounts is I'm not even worried about getting to these next payouts now. To me, it's just how long can I extend the life of these accounts to get what I need to see for where I'm going wrong. It seems to be tilting my psychology at this point. So I have a lot of work I need to do there still. But it's like just give yourself life to these accounts. So if it's one contract, if it's two contracts, and if you understand where your stop loss needs to be, that risk management is going to go a long ways to giving ourselves time to actually collect that data. So like try not to get tunnel vision in the moment of a single loss because we're really trading a set of trades to give us that actual data. So that could be 10 trades, 15 trades, 20 trades, but you got to be able to get to that point of taking 15 to 20 trades to get the actual results of what's really going on with your trading, you
For
know?
sure. So I thought of something we could do is I was listening to this interview. It was a guy, he's like a psychologist, but he like helps like hedge fund managers like with their psychology. And one big thing he talked about that all the traders like had like, is a positive mindset all the time, like even like outside of trading, and learning how to control your anger outside of trading. So like for example, like you were frustrated at work when you had these new people you were working with, they didn't know what they were doing. But like you said yourself, like you kind of got frustrated with that. And like I get frustrated very easily outside of life. So I thought of something cool we could do is if we could try to do these Zoom calls maybe bi-weekly Sunday or Sundays or just once a week, kind of like to teach each other to hold ourselves accountable. So maybe during the week, we could remind ourselves to stay positive even when the situation sucks, or reminding ourselves we have to not get angry in our life situation, like whatever it be, like if we're at work, like the normal times we get frustrated, we remind ourselves like we can't get frustrated because if we get frustrated at work, we're going to bring that to the charts potentially. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think that
that
might be a
makes
good
sense.
idea. Like, and we could like talk about it, in the following session. Like it's like weird. It's like almost like AA almost. But uh like a way to like remind ourselves that like we need to be positive off the charts. We need to be not angry off the charts because that comes into we bring that to the charts. Like if we like it or not, because it's in our subconscious. I don't know if anybody
Yeah,
would be willing to do that. I think it's a cool idea.
I would be down for that. Yeah.
And then like the times where because I just have a notebook open, the times where you see yourself getting angry outside of chart trading or the time you see yourself getting negative towards yourself or just anything, jot it down, write it down and remind yourself like this isn't okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And one thing that Uzi had shared with me, which I started doing, is just start journaling my losses. And so now when I take these losses, that's what I throw in my journal. I'm not as focused as much on the wins anymore. I mean, I do collect the data still of like what worked a little bit better, what type of mitigations on 10T I'm looking for, because that's where I focus my entries at now is from 10T. So of course I still reflect on my wins even and what could I've done better or whatever. But now it's just journaling my losses and being honest about it. And because it's like journaling your losses isn't just the technical analysis side, but it's like you were saying, Jamie, it's understanding the entire scope of the environment that was going on. Like how were you feeling? What were your emotions? Going back to CyberX 2.0, one of his first psychology videos I'd ever watched in that psychology section, he said that when you take a loss, trading didn't start the moment that you entered the markets. It started the moment that you woke up. And so he encouraged us to actually start your reflection going back to the very morning and what happened leading up to the moment that you entered the charts and took that loss, because I think like what you're saying is for me, trading has been like a evolution, like with even who I am as a person. It's not just a little hobby that I hop in to do here and there, and it's like if we're not balanced outside of the markets, we're not going to be balanced in the markets. And you want that ability to bring that balanced energy into the markets so that you are calm, cool, and collected. Um, like for tonight, I took a break even but I was able to stay calm, cool, and collected and get that re-entry because I was able to essentially just be mechanical and understand like, okay, invalidation is here. I took a momentum con entry here, got stopped out, but there's still the chance that they retest the static base. And if I get the right mitigate, so it's like taking losses, there's also if we're calm, cool, and collected, we can understand like proper re-entries. That's something I've been working on recently is like what's the difference between a loss where I shouldn't re-enter and the difference between a loss where I still have that re-entry possibility. But if we're not able to stay calm, cool, and collected, we could spiral out or even doubt ourselves or say, oh no, I must have been wrong or this or that. So yeah, I agree with you fully, bro. I think and that's something that I think would help too is just it's been helping me is and it keeps me accountable because Uzi's the man and it's like, sharing these sometimes I go to share a loss with him and I'm like, oh, he's gonna see this and know I FOMO'd. And then it just puts that little embarrassment on me because I'm like, okay, I don't want to waste this guy's time. So then going forward next time, I'm more accountable with myself because I'm thinking in that moment, like when I go to take these trades, like 9 out of 10 times, like I either am very confident or there's a part of me that's like that little last percent where it's like, I know I shouldn't be taking this trade. And it might be because of doubt or there's just something not lined up properly. And so it's easier for me to share the losses that I tried doing everything right and I thought I was in the right and then I got stopped out because that's where the real learning is if we keep breaking our rules, we're never going to get to the point of understanding how we can break through to the next level because we already broke a rule that we know we needed to have followed. And so I think that um, journaling our losses is can be very helpful because it's kind of like it keeps you accountable, but it also lets you know, did you follow all the rules leading up to this entry? And if not, then already right there, you're not going to be able to understand what you need to do better, going forward. But then having that emotional balance from just being a person in general, like you were saying for me at work, I like literally, I'm just not going to trade at work right now, guys, because it's just too chaotic. And then I've got the new guys being assigned with me, which that should have been a red flag for me because there's no reason I should have been frustrated that they were asking me questions for being brand new, like they're there to do a job and to show up to work and I should have respected that, but that should have been a red flag to me personally. I didn't get angry at them or show any sign of frustration, but internally I should have been like, whoa, why am I getting frustrated? But it was because I felt like they were interrupting my trading, and that is a very shallow reason. But that should have been a red flag for me that, okay, you know what, this is not a good trading space. I shouldn't even be looking at the markets right now, like if I'm feeling this type of way. And so yeah, I think just being cognizant of those triggers that we have, and are we approaching the market with if we're not feeling calm, then maybe it's just not a good space to try and enter the markets or be a participant, you know. Because protecting our capital, uh that video that Scalper sent us on, I think what's his name, like Jesse Livermore or something, or John Jesse, or I think it's Jesse Livermore. But he said that the biggest times to scale up actually come from the moments that we don't trade. And so it's like the moments that we're choosing to protect our capital and not be a participant are actually the times that we make the most money. Because when we do choose to participate, it's finally in a space where the conditions are optimal. And even if we take a loss, the edge will scale it back. So that's something I'm trying to keep in my mind space right now. It's just I don't have to participate all the time, you know, just when it matters and the conditions are optimal.
Yeah, 100%, man. I think we'll all get there. I mean, yeah, some people are faster than others, but just can't quit and keep going. But I just think
Yeah.
I really want to start these Zoom calls back up and try to like get like a schedule routine of it and um go from there. And I was going to talk to Cypress, maybe just incorporate this into the CyberX thing too, because I think a lot of people, a lot of traders, like we have the best edge in the world, and I think a lot of us battle the the fear, uncertainty, doubt, tilting. A lot of people battle that, and I think it'd be kind of a cool to have like more or less like a psychology Zoom with other people, other ideas, brainstorming. I think it'll help a lot of people because we have the trader's edge, and maybe weekly we could share, you know, instead of everybody sharing wins, we'll share. Everybody can share a loss for the week unless no one loses, and then we could have like something like where we essentially kind of hold each other accountable. But I mean, people, you have to hold your own self accountable. But I think with a group, it does help. You build that like good connection because it's like if you're doing this like group, let's be positive all week, and you catch yourself not doing it, you know, I know myself, if I get negative, I'm gonna be like, wow, the rest of the group's probably being positive right now, and I'm gonna look like a jackass, So I think it'd be kind of a fun idea to start doing, and I don't know if anybody else had any input on that, but
Yeah, no, I agree. I love this connection, to be honest. You know, I in the beginning I used to be embarrassed to take losses, bro, but I think the more that we could talk about like these sides, like I said, it's easy for us to take wins and move forward in life and go on to the next session or the next time that we trade, but I think it's just it's these moments where we do lose, like these are the moments that are gonna make or break us. You know, like how many people in the past have done good, hit those moments, and then just walked away from trading forever, you know? And I don't feel that's any of us here because we're so locked in and tenacious about this. But these are the same moments that we all go through where it can really mess with our psychology or I can't tell you how many times I used to hit like those pits of despair. Like the worst moment I had was I took 2 months off from trading, like completely, just didn't even focus on it. I just took some time to recover, but there was that fire deep down where it kept calling out to me, and I knew it was just a matter of time till I started studying again. And I did, you know, I eventually came back into the market, started studying again. I felt rejuvenated. But I think that part of balance is going to be important too, is like making sure that we're getting good sleep, we're taking care of ourselves, staying hydrated. Like I know it sounds very simple, but when I have like these bad moments or I take these losses, your head starts to get cloudy or you start to feel like a little groggy. And it's like what I recommend for anybody now is like, okay, if you had a bad week, that weekend, just treat yourself to some good self-care, hydrate, make sure you eat good, get some really good rest, and just kind of recharge those batteries because physically and mentally we want to be restored. Because this does take energy, it takes energy to be in these challenges, to get to the funded, and then let's just say you blow the funded, and now you're like, you feel so drained and exhausted because of all the work that you put in to get wherever we're at in our journeys. If you haven't taken a challenge yet, or if you have, but we're all going to hit these moments where it tests our fortitude, our perseverance, our willingness to keep moving forward, and I value this energy from these calls, because you guys are the guys that like I personally want to be surrounded by. Like I want the people that I know that no matter how hard things got, like we can all relate to that. And when we're smoking cigars and toasting champagne at the top, like you guys are gonna be my family because you guys understood what it took to get through to that. And I saw this funny thing on Instagram. This dude posted, he's like, yeah, maybe everybody else is gonna call it luck or whatever, but like we'll know the truth. They'll just see that we're making money, but I'll know that we are like these highly conscious operating individuals that I have mad respect for. And I've got mad respect for every single one of you, regardless of where we're all at on this journey. It's just the energy is precious to me. So I think these Zoom calls are going to be great personally, just being surrounded by the people that were going through the trenches.
For sure, dude. Does anybody else have anything else to add? It's kind of
NASDAQ is blowing up right now.
uh, I'll cut the recording or if sorry, I'm stuttering. If no one has anything else to add, and then we'll try to focus on getting a good time for everybody to start doing this more often. All right, sweet. I think that was some pretty good gems in there.
Hey
So
lads.
what are you thinking? Go ahead, Reese, my bad.
Oh no, sorry. All I would say is that just to just to say that I think in this whole journey, it's been quite hard to relate to people because they don't really understand, what it takes and the amount of effort that we put in. And sometimes, at least for me, it can feel quite unrewarding. Um, and I'm definitely trying, you know. So just to appreciate the support of being able to speak to other guys, other people in a similar situation. I mean that's invaluable. So yeah, the Zoom calls are a big thumbs up for me. Like when I can make them and to be surrounded more and more by people that are somewhat like-minded and we share the same goals, don't we? And we can be supportive of one another. So that's all that I'd like to add to the situation.
For sure, bro. Yeah, it's like some great insight because I feel the same way. I don't talk to anybody anymore except the people in this group because no one understands. It's like weird. Luke, were you gonna say
Yeah, I
something?
used to.
No, I feel like I feel very similar to all of you guys. I think these are very helpful and getting other people's inputs on what they see in the charts is really helpful, you know?
Yeah, for
And not
sure.
only the charts, just like how we're feeling about the charts, how we're feeling in our day to day, and just, you know, just keep pushing through it. That's it.
All right. Yeah, we'll definitely do this more often. Like I said, I'm gonna try to talk to Cypress about this and maybe have like a psychology style Zoom call weekly and just help the community out. Like we can help each other. It's a battle. We got this, guys. We're gonna be profitable traders here in the future. Just don't quit.
It's
Mm,
just a
mm.
matter of time, bro. It's
Mm-hmm.
just a matter of time. Yeah.
100%.
I mean,
Yes, sir.
thinking back to one of my recent mistakes or something that I do is I can be real patient and I can wait for price to come into value in like my higher time frame. So I'm in good context, and then I'll literally watch the setup appear in front of me. I'll see the delta held on the 40, and then it will retest, and then I'll just let it slip away, or I'll hesitate, or I'll be so much uncertainty and lack of conviction, and then it goes and it does what it was suggesting it was going to do, which is okay. That's one thing. At least then I'm recognizing price action somewhat correctly, although I'm not pulling the trigger. But then what I'll do, because I've missed that move, my discipline and my psychology goes out the window, because part of me, and this is not correct, but it's true, is that I've invested my evening sitting there watching this particular piece of price action play out, and now it's getting late and I've got nothing to show for my time, and I'll then take the next setup, which is now out of price context, and inevitably it will go against me because it's no longer in value anymore, right?
Mhm.
So that's a discipline thing, that's a psychology thing, that's the wrong-mindedness on my part. But yeah, that's something I do, and I beat myself up so hard about it as
We do the
well.
same thing, man. The same thing.
Mm, mm, yeah. I go over some of my journal stuff. Like sometimes I get a little bit of time off work during the day, so I'll go to the library and I'll journal and I'll study, and I'll look at my journals and I'll go, oh wow, like this is making a lot of sense to me now, right? I can read, and it feels good. And then on a live market, I can't apply that knowledge. I can't put that knowledge to use. So I'm quite frustrated with myself about that.
You'll eventually get it, man. It's gonna come. It's gonna come. I know it is. It's that
It
little,
is.
there's just a little thing, like Scalper said, most of us don't realize how close we are. We are so close. Just one little tweak, and there you go.
Yeah, yeah. This is like what Pete said. Sticking to the rules has got to be the baseline, absolute baseline.
hmm
Yeah.
For sure. But yeah, I think this was a great call, guys. I think the recording's getting like over an hour long, so I don't know how long that takes to upload, and I know I gotta figure this out. But yeah, we definitely gotta do this more often, and hope everybody has a great night
Okay.
and day.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Day,
Phil.
gentlemen. I
day.
appreciate your time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
God
thank
bless you
you guys
guys, and
for sharing.
uh,
Thanks, Jamie.
yeah, for sure. See you later.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you.